world's easiest Figma Variables crash course. If you've never used Figma Variables before, this is the perfect place. We're going to simplify this like you've never seen before. If you've ever made something in Figma and then later you wanted to go back and change the color of the thing, and then you realized every single place that you used this shade now has to be replaced manually, so you're doing 20 different color changes just because you wanted to change one different color, Figma Variables is the solution to that entire drag and drop, tiring, endless problem. Variables will let you change a property once and it automatically updates everywhere. That means faster design, fewer mistakes, and more consistency in your UI UX. A variable is just a value you can reuse across your design. For example, imagine if your primary brand color for something was blue and then you wanted to go ahead and change the primary brand color to pink. Instead of going to every single place where you used that shade of blue and manually replacing it with the exact shade of pink you wanted, you could go ahead, change the main primary color value of the variable of the file from blue to pink, and it would automatically update everywhere. That is the power of Figma Variables in action. Let's go inside of Figma and actually explore what variables are and how to use them in practice. This is a fresh Figma file. Now we're going to start creating our variables. To create variables, it's a really simple thing to do. Go to the left side, click on the variables button right here. Now you have the variables tab open and you've got no variables created just yet. You can save numbers, colors, text, and states to reuse them in your styles, prototypes, and everywhere. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new variable. We can use 4 types of variables. This is a color variable, which means you can save a color here. This is a number variable. You can save a specific number value, numerical value. This is a string variable, and string is basically any word, text, sentence. String is basically simple text, and boolean values are true and false values. So we're just going to start by creating a color variable. Let's create a simple primary color variable. This is going to be the primary color of our design. And now we're going to bring this to a really dark shade of pink, which is the primary color for today's design. At the bottom, click on new create variable, and we're going to create a secondary variable now. This is going to be the secondary color of our design. Let's just make it a lighter shade of pink. All right, I like how this is looking. Looks good. That's it. These are the 2 main colors of our color palette. You can also have a background color, which is going to be white because we're in light mode now. So in backgrounds of light mode, we're going to use a white background, but I also want to add dark mode now. So we're going to also implement dark mode in this example that we're building out. We're going to go over here to the right side, click on the plus and click on a new variable mode. This is going to let us create a dark mode. So the first mode was our light mode and the second mode is our dark mode. Light mode and dark mode. So the premise is, in the light mode version, you're going to have a white background, a deep pink primary, and a light pink secondary. And for the first part of having a dark mode, you're going to have to make sure the dark mode's background is plain black. You can even make this a darker shade of gray. 1010 is perfect. All right, now that we have these figured out, I also want to have a couple of other values done. So let's create a number variable now. This is going to be the spacing between the title and the description. Let's add a spacing here. Spacing 1, this is going to be the first spacing, and this is going to have 20 pixels of spacing, and we're also going to make sure the spacing is same across light and dark. All right, we're going to have spacing number 2. This is going to be the spacing between the tagline, which is the description line, and also the call to action button. Let's do spacing 2 and let's give this a spacing of 15 pixels, and of course even on the dark mode spectrum of things, it's going to be the exact same. Now we're going to have a string. So this is going to be the title that we give our brand. This is going to be our new brand, and it's going to be called Sleep with Peace with Sleep Zen, which is the name of our brand. And again, I want the same exact title to be for the dark mode as well. Now we're going to create a description. You can basically prototype most of the data and content of your site this way. Let's have a description line. This is going to be a bit longer, and we're going to type out find peaceful sleep, white noise and meditation soundtracks with the best sleep app in the market. And I'm going to copy this now, and we're going to paste this right here. And now we're going to also add a main string for our button. So this is going to be the button call to action or CTA, and this is going to be explore now. Again, explore now. And we're going to have a secondary button as well. This is going to be the sign in button. So this is going to be the CTA button, call to action button, and then we're going to have a sign in button. Nope, I think we set the wrong type of value. If you put in the wrong value, let's just delete this guy because we don't want a boolean value here. Let's delete this variable. All right, so I wanted the string to be the sign in button. This is going to ask the users to sign in, and this is going to say sign in. Again, exactly what my other button is also going to say. And now we're going to add a boolean value. This is going to check if we are in light mode. So if you check for whether we're in light mode or not, if this is true, then that means this is kind of acting right now, and if we're not in light mode, this means this is in false right now. So these are the differences between light mode and dark mode. All right, now we're going to go ahead and start designing using these collections. So this is our first collection. You can have another collection too, but for now the first collection is good enough for us. So we're going to go right here, create a simple little frame. Let's create iPhone frame, and I want to do a simple background now. So we're going to have a background color now, and then we're going to add a title. We're going to make this title, this is going to be our main title, and I'm going to add a little bit of the fonts right here. So let's just go ahead and add a simple little font. I'm just going to use Playfair Display as our main font now, and we're going to make the font size a little bit bigger. Let's bring this up to a 48. All right, all I wanted to do was basically fill out a value here for the title. So we're going to go ahead, select this text, go right here to the text option and click on this button. And now we're going to add our title. This is going to be the simple title that we're working with. Again, we can resize this and we can make this a little bit bolder. We can even make it semi-bold or bold italic. This looks good. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a simple description. This is also going to be, again, we're going to pull this value from right here. This is going to be our description. Second font for today that we're using is Inter. So we're just going to get that in here. And this is a body font. So we're going to make it regular, much smaller. Let's do 20. I think we can do a little bit smaller than that. Let's go ahead and do 16. We're going to make this even smaller. And I want to change the line height a little bit. Let's make the line height bigger. But now that we have the two of these here, I want the spacing to be a certain number. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to add an auto layout. So let's just frame these together. We're going to add an auto layout, and now that we have an auto layout here, we're going to change the gap value to apply a variable which is going to be spacing 1, and this is going to be the first spacing between the title and the description. Now congratulations, we applied a spacing variable or a number variable in this case. Next, I want to also have a call to action button, so I'm going to add this text right here. We're going to go ahead and pull from our button value. This is going to be explore now. Again, I want to change the font a little bit just so you have a clean UI to look at. Let's make this bold, and we're also going to make a simple button. Right click, frame selection, add a little bit of padding, add a little bit of top and bottom padding to this. Again, I want the font size to be so much smaller. 20 looks good. Again, we have this simple button right here, and I want to add a fill to this button, but this fill needs to be a primary color, the primary color that we were using. And to do that, we're just going to go ahead, get our primary color right here, and we're also going to change this to be the exact same as our background. So we're just going to make sure that contrast is preserved well. Again, we're going to adjust the spacing a little bit, and now the thing that I wanted to do was have spacing 2 be the spacing between this guy and this guy. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to take this frame inside of our main frame. We're going to put this at the bottom. I want to create a separate frame with the two of these because these are the content at the end of the day, and create an auto layout, and the gap between the two of these is going to be from our variable of spacing 2. So now this is spacing 2 of 15 pixels applied between the two of these, and this is the spacing 1 which has been applied between this and this, which is of 20 pixels. And with that, we've created our very own component system where we have got our title, our description, the button call to action text, spacing over here, all figured out through our own colors. I also want the option to sign up or log in, so I'm going to create a secondary button, copy and paste the same button now, and we're going to change the color of this button to our secondary color, and we're going to change the color of this from background to primary color, and this is going to be sign in. So we're going to call this sign in, but remember, we're not actually typing this text out, we're getting this text from the sign in which we typed out in the variables section. So you can still go ahead and check out your variables. I feel like we misspelled it right here, but no worries, we can fix tiny little bit of grammar without panicking about it. And now we have our sign in button also complete with us, and with that we've technically added a primary call to action button and a secondary call to action button, all populated using variables. All right, now I'm going to fill out a couple of tiny little logos and stuff. So let's just go ahead and get the Iconify plugin from Figma. You can search for the plugin if you don't actually find it right here. So you can go ahead and search for Iconify. Again, we're going to go ahead at Iconify and we're going to go to our icons, and I'm going to get two simple icons here. So let's just get a sleep icon. This is going to be our logo for a little while. Let's get this guy right here. I think we got it on the other side, and we're also going to get a menu icon. So let's just go ahead and click a menu, search for a menu icon. This looks good. Let's just get the two of these in here. And again, I'm going to go ahead, make sure these icons are much smaller. Let's just give them 228 As a sizing, this is much smaller now. Don't worry if it looks really weird and thick. This is actually because of the stroke inside. So if you make the stroke thinner, it automatically sizes down. Let's just bring this to a smaller number. This looks good. All right, we have this first icon here. Again, for this second icon, I'm going to make sure this is outside of our frame. And inside of this icon, I'm going to make this smaller, much smaller. This is going to be our main logo for a little while. And now here's a single variable that we might want to add here. I want to add one color variable that I kind of missed in the middle, which is the text color. So this is going to be the color of our text. If you've got light mode, then the text color is black. If you've got dark mode, text color is white. And we're going to go back now, change the color from the selection to the variable that we've been working with. So let's just go over here, change this to a variable color. Let's make this the variable black. Once again, we're going to go over here, select this color, make this the variable black, go over here, select this color, make this the variable black. Once again, go over here, select this color, make this the variable black. And now when I try to, let's just make this perfectly sized right here. So this is a simple Sleep apps, really basic frame. Again, nothing too complicated, just a simple frame right now. And now I'm going to copy and paste this whole frame once again. And now if I go ahead and enter into variable mode, which is a mode in Figma, which you can just click this button to access, go to the first collection which we were working with. And now we're going to change this to dark mode because the auto setting was light mode. Now we're going to change this to dark mode. And check this out, you guys, we made dark mode happen like that. We didn't even have to work too hard for that. That just happened all of a sudden. Like we just had to click one singular button, dark mode done. Usually it takes so much longer to get dark mode happening, and it happened immediately. And this is the power of Figma variables. This is why Figma variables are so powerful, so effective, so efficient in creating different versions of a site. This has been Figma variables. If you want to update any value, you can go ahead and instead of saying I want to change this color from this dark to a darker shade of blue, from this black to a darker shade of blue, you can go ahead to your variables and directly change the value to a darker shade of blue. Let's just get this color in here. And now when I go back to my file of design right here, now it's automatically switched out to a darker shade of blue as opposed to black straight. So this is a little bit of a different shade right now, you can see. And this is exactly what the power of variables is. You can go ahead and change anything. Let's just say sleep with zen with sleep zen. And if I only wanted the word zen to be active in light mode, which I don't know why that would happen, but if you want that to be your preference, you can literally change this to be right here. And if you want the word zen to be everywhere, you can just go ahead and change this right here, and it's going to make sure every word says zen. If I want the spacing between the title and this first line of description to be 100 pixels, I can do that too, because instead of going ahead and changing the value everywhere, I can just type out 100, and I'm going to make sure this is 100 as well, just to make sure the dark mode value is same. And check it out, without doing anything, the spacing between this and this increased to 100. Now, a question that people have all the time is, when is it the right idea to use variables? When is it the right idea to use styles? The simple rule is you will use styles when you have something that needs to be updated or decided once, like a static UI that's just one time only. But you'll use variables for themes, design systems, complete projects which have a different app, a website, and a PWA, and you have to design all of them. If you have to make something for one single time, styles are your go-to option. But if you have to update it in multiple places, if it's a complete smart system, then you need to start using variables. Variables will help you save time, stay consistent, scale your designs, and even have an easier time making dark and light modes. So here's a quick recap of everything we learned here today. Variables help you reuse values across your design. When you update a variable, every connected value updates automatically. That means fewer errors, faster changes, and more consistent designs. And that was the easiest description of Figma variables, completely from scratch. I hope you learned something new. I hope you liked this video. Make sure to leave a nice comment below. Tell me how you'll use Figma variables, and I will see you in the next one. Alright, love you. Bye.